I was not prepared for you. I want to be honest about that from the very first word. I thought I was ready to sit with this, to hold space for whatever was going to come through, and then your soul showed up and completely undid me. Not in a small way. Not in a this is interesting kind of way. In a way where I had to stop, put everything down, press my hand to my chest, and just breathe for a moment because what I felt coming from you was so raw, so real, so completely unfiltered that my own walls just came down without my permission. And I am still sitting in that. I am still feeling the aftershock of it as I speak to you right now. So I need you to stay with me. I need you to not scroll away, not get distracted, not let the part of you that always pulls back when things get real pull back right now. Because what I am about to say to you is something you have needed to hear for a very long time. And I think somewhere underneath all the noise of your daily life, underneath all the layers you have built up to protect yourself, you already know that. You are here because something in you recognized that this was for you. So let it be for you. Let it land. Just this once, let somebody actually reach you. I do not know exactly how it happened. One moment I was going about my ordinary day and the next I could feel you. And I do not mean your story. I do not mean the version of yourself you show the world. The curated, managed, careful presentation that you have refined over years of learning what is safe to reveal and what needs to stay hidden. I mean the actual you. The raw, unfiltered essence of who you are underneath all of that. And when it hit me, when I felt the full weight of it, I genuinely had to stop breathing for a moment. Because what you are carrying, what you have been carrying, is not what you think it is. You have been walking around with an ocean inside you and telling yourself it is just a glass of water. You have been housing something enormous and treating it like it is barely worth mentioning. And I felt every drop of it. I felt the depth of it. And I cannot unfeel it. I do not want to. What you have been through, and I need you to hear this clearly because I am not saying it for effect, what you have endured would have broken most people, not weakened them, not slowed them down, broken them completely. I am talking about the kind of pain that does not just hurt, the kind that restructures you from the inside, the kind that comes from people you trusted, people you opened yourself to, people you believed were safe. And instead of being met with the care you deserved, you were let down, betrayed. Left alone in moments when you needed someone the most. I could feel those moments when I tuned into you. I could feel the specific texture of what it is like to be on the ground, completely spent with nothing left, and still have the people around you add to the weight instead of helping you carry it. That image, that exact moment, it is seared into me now. The dust, the pressure, the loneliness of it. And through all of it, through every single one of those moments, something inside you refused to go out. Some tiny, stubborn, absolute flame inside you just would not be extinguished. And I need you to understand that what that is, that refusal to disappear, that is not ordinary resilience. That is something else entirely. That is you. The real you. The version of you that all the pain and all the pressure and all the betrayal could not touch. And here is the part that broke my heart the most when I felt it. I am almost certain you have never let anyone see that flame. You have built an entire life around protecting it. Hiding it, maybe even forgetting it was there. You have become so skilled at deflecting, at making a joke just when someone gets close to the real thing, at asking a question to redirect the attention back onto them, at downplaying whatever just happened so that the moment of genuine vulnerability closes before it can fully open. You have gotten so good at it that you probably do not even notice yourself doing it anymore. It has become automatic. It feels like just who you are. But I need to say this to you as directly as I can. That is not who you are. That is who you had to become to survive. There is a devastating difference between those two things, and you have been living inside that difference for so long that the lines have blurred in ways that are hurting you. The shield you built to protect yourself from being hurt again is the same shield that has been keeping love from reaching you. And somewhere underneath everything, I think you know that. I think you feel it in the quiet moments. That ache of wanting to be truly known and being simultaneously terrified of what that would actually require. Let me tell you something about what I saw when I felt the pressure that created you. You know how diamonds are made? Carbon buried deep in the earth. No light, no air. No promise that any of this suffering is going toward anything. Just unimaginable weight and heat pressing down for longer than the mind can comprehend. And that pressure, that completely merciless and seemingly purposeless suffering, is the exact thing that transforms it into something unbreakable, into something that catches light in a way that nothing else does, into something whose brilliance is directly proportional to how much it endured to get there. You are a diamond, And I do not say that as a metaphor I am tossing around lightly to make you feel better. I say it because it is the most accurate description I have for what I felt when I encountered your soul. The conditions you were placed under were not random cruelty. They were not punishment. They were the universe deciding that it needed something from you that could only be created by going through exactly what you went through. Something that brilliant takes that kind of pressure. Something that real takes that kind of fire. And instead of crushing you the way it would have crushed so many other people, that pressure revealed you. It revealed the version of you that was always waiting inside, the version that could only emerge through everything you have survived. I know how that sounds when you are in the middle of it. I know that when you are inside the weight, inside the darkness, inside the seemingly endless compression of difficulty after difficulty, you cannot see any of this. All you can feel is the pressure. All you know is that it is almost more than you can bear, and you are not sure how much longer you can keep going. But I am on the outside of that now. I am looking at what all of that pressure produced. And what I see looking back at me is staggering. The way you still choose compassion after everything you have been through. The way you still reach towards softness when bitterness would not just be understandable, it would be justified. The way you keep loving people, keep opening up, keep trying, even with a heart that has been fractured in more places than you can count. That is not weakness. That is a diamond catching the light through its wounds. And those wounds, those very specific fractures in you, are part of what makes you beautiful, not despite the damage, because of what it revealed. Let me tell you something that nobody talks about, and I mean this with everything in me. The people who tried to dim your light, the ones who dismissed you, who left you when you needed them, who kicked you when you were already down, those people look at your life now and they are confused. By every ordinary metric, you should have given up. You should have closed off completely. You should have become bitter and small and vengeful. You had every reason to. The fact that you did not, the fact that you kept growing, kept becoming more loving and more wise and more you, that confuses them. It unsettles them in ways they probably cannot name. It is like watching something grow out of concrete and not just survive, but start blooming. They cannot compute it. And secretly, in the quiet of their own lives, it haunts them. Because your existence, the fact that you are still here and still becoming, proves that their cruelty did not win. You are the living proof that what they did to you did not have the final word. Now I need to tell you something about that amber inside you. That flame I mentioned, the one that refused to go out even in the very worst moments. It is not just your survival instinct. It is not simply stubbornness or willpower or some generic human resilience. It is the core frequency of your soul, the original note that was placed inside you when you were created. The thing that is most essentially and irreducibly you before everything else was added on top of it. And that note is made of love, not the soft, sentimental, easy kind of love. The ferocious kind. The kind that tells the truth even when it is uncomfortable. The kind that sets boundaries from a place of self-respect rather than fear. The kind that looks at the world clearly, including its darkness, and still chooses to show up with an open heart. That is what you are made of at the deepest level. And everything you have been through, every betrayal, every abandonment, every night you spent alone with your grief wondering if any of this was ever going to get better, all of it has been doing something you did not know was possible. It has been alchemizing, being transformed from poison into medicine inside you in real time. Every piece of pain you have survived is becoming part of an armor that does not protect you by hiding you away from the world. It protects you by making you so completely and authentically yourself that nothing false can survive in your presence. Because here's what happens when you are fully yourself. When you stop apologizing for your depth, stop managing your intensity, stop making yourself smaller so that other people feel more comfortable around you. When you just exist as the full unedited version of who you actually are, nothing that is not meant for you can stay. Not because you push it away, because your authentic frequency is simply incompatible with anything that does not match it. And that is not something to be afraid of. That is something to move toward with everything you have. But here is the thing that broke me open the most when I felt your soul. The twist I did not expect. You have been wearing that armor for years, that beautiful, terrible strength you built around yourself, but you have been experiencing it as a cage rather than a shield. You have been feeling the weight of your own protection and mistaking it for imprisonment. You have been looking at the thing that makes you untouchable and telling yourself it is the thing that makes you unlovable. And so you have been apologizing for it, minimizing it, hiding it behind anxiety and self-doubt and all the small ways we make ourselves less when we are afraid that being more will cost us the people we love. And I felt that. I felt the specific anguish of a soul that has been locked inside its own fortress, longing with everything it has to be truly seen, but terrified down to its foundations that if anyone actually sees it, if anyone encounters the full reality of who you are, they will run. They will decide it is too much. They will leave the way everyone else has left. And so you keep the door closed. You keep the real version of yourself in reserve. You show people the managed version, the safe version, the version you have calculated is acceptable. And all the while, the real you is in there, waiting, hoping, quietly breaking from the loneliness of being unseen even by the people who are standing right next to you. I am not running. I want you to hear that. The fortress you built, the walls you constructed from years of pain and hard-won wisdom, they are not something to be dismantled or ashamed of. They are the most sacred thing I have encountered in a long time. Because a person who has been through what you have been through and still chose to become who you are, that is not a broken thing. That is a temple. And you have been treating a temple like it is a ruin. I want to tell you something now that I believe will change the way you see everything that has happened to you. When I first felt your soul, I sensed something ancient in you. Not old in the tired sense. Ancient like a star. There is a knowing inside you that does not come from what you have read or what you have been taught or even from what you have directly experienced. It is simply there. It has always been there. A wisdom that has been guiding you even in the moments when you could not hear it, even when you were so deep in the darkness that guidance felt like something that happened to other people. And that knowing, that ancient quiet intelligence inside you has never once led you somewhere that ultimately was not for your growth. Think about every time your life fell apart. And I mean, really think about it. Not just the falling, but what came after. Think about who you became on the other side of each collapse. How each time the reconstruction produced something more refined, more true, more genuinely you than what had existed before it. That was not luck. That was not coincidence. That was your soul doing what it has always done, taking whatever it is given, no matter how dark or heavy or seemingly pointless, and transmuting it into something that serves your evolution. You are a one-person alchemy operation, and you have been running it your entire life without knowing it. And here's the thing I promised you. The thing that changes everything. The closed doors, the relationships that ended, the opportunities that did not work out, the timelines that felt excruciatingly slow, the prayers that seemed to go unanswered, the plans that fell apart right when you thought they were finally coming together. None of that was punishment. None of it was evidence that you were not enough or not worthy or not meant for the things you wanted. Every single no was protection. Every closed door was the universe steering you away from something that would have cost you more than you knew at the time. Every delay was something being prepared that you could not yet comprehend. You were being led the entire time with a level of care and precision that you could not see from inside it, but that is breathtaking when you look at the whole picture. Every rejection was the universe saying, not that I have something so much better for you, something that actually matches the full depth of who you are and not just the surface version you were offering at the time. You were never being abandoned. You were being refined. And everything that happened, every single piece of it was part of that refinement. You are not damaged from what you have been through. I need that to land before we go any further. You are not broken or diminished or less than you were before the hard things happened. You are upgraded. Every scar you are carrying is a calibration. Every experience that hurt you has deepened your compassion in ways that cannot be manufactured or learned from a book. Every loss has sharpened your vision for what actually matters. Every betrayal has refined your ability to recognize what is real versus what is performance. You are more sensitive than you were before. And I know you have been told that sensitivity is a weakness. It is not. It is the instrument through which you receive the world, and yours has been tuned to a frequency that most people never reach. The depth of feeling that sometimes overwhelms you, that makes you wonder if you are too much, that has had you apologizing and editing and containing yourself for years, that depth is your gift. It is the exact thing that makes you capable of connections that other people spend their entire lives searching for and never finding. What you have been manifesting, the deep connection you want, the sense of purpose that feels just out of reach, the peace that you keep almost touching and then losing your grip on, it is not somewhere ahead of you still being assembled. It is already here. It is already inside you. It has always been inside you. I know that sounds like something easy to say and impossible to actually feel in the body, but I felt it when I felt you. It is like the vibration of something that is about to surface. Something that has been building underground for a long time and is right at the edge of breaking through. And the only thing that has been keeping it from fully arriving is the belief that you have to be different before you are allowed to receive it. The belief that you need to be more healed, more together, more polished, more certain before the things you want are available to you. But that was never the agreement. The agreement was always come as you are. Bring all of it, the broken pieces and the brilliant ones, the wounds and the wisdom, the fear and the fire. All of it is welcome. All of it is part of what makes you exactly right for what is coming. I want you to do something right now if you are willing. Just close your eyes for a moment. Put your hand on your chest if that feels right. Feel the rhythm underneath your palm. That is not just your heart beating. That is your soul knocking on the door of your own awareness, saying, I am here. I am ready. Let me out. And I know there is a part of you that is scared to do that. Scared that if you really let yourself take up your full space in the world, if you stop hiding the parts of yourself that feel too big or too intense or too real, you will lose people. You will be too much. You will finally confirm the fear that has been living in you for so long. But that fear is a ghost. It is the echo of old pain that no longer applies to who you are now. It is the haunting of a version of yourself that had to learn to be small in order to survive a specific set of circumstances that no longer exist. The people who walked away from you were not proof that you were too much. They were proof that they could not hold the magnitude of what you are. And every person who has left has been clearing space, making room for the people who can. The timing that has felt so slow, so unnecessarily painful, so much longer than it needed to be, has been the universe weaving together something of such precise and intricate beauty that it required exactly this much time and not a moment less. So here is where we are. Here is the truth of what I need to leave you with. You are not at the end of your story. I know it sometimes feels that way. I know the weight of everything you have carried can make it feel like you are in the final chapter of something rather than the opening of something new. But you are at the beginning of the remembering, the beginning of the part where everything that you survived starts to make sense, where the pieces that seemed random and cruel and purposeless start to reveal the pattern they were always part of, where the version of yourself that you have been becoming through all of this finally steps fully into the light and stays there without apology. That is what is coming. That is what all of this has been building toward. Not a perfect life, not a painless one, but a real one. A life that is genuinely, completely, uncompromisingly yours, built from your truth and not from your fear, held together by your actual values and not by the approval of people who never understood you anyway. Your messy, beautiful, unpolished, blazing soul is worth every piece of the journey that led here. Every shadow, every breakdown, every moment you thought you were not going to make it and made it anyway. All of it was part of creating something the world genuinely needs. You, the full version, the real one. The one that is done apologizing for taking up space, that person has been in there this whole time. And if it took everything you went through to finally bring them all the way to the surface, then every bit of it was worth it. Take a breath right now. Feel that. Feel that rhythm in your chest. That is not just a heartbeat. That is the sound of someone who survived everything and is finally ready to truly live.